Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 5/5/2022 Mother Mary message for the month. My name is Samarah Grace Daniels. I've been a channel for Mother Mary since 1998. It has brought me all sorts of wonderful blessings, and my greatest joy is to share her love and her wisdom with the Mother Mary family that tends to tune in to these broadcasts, either live or later on. So tonight is really about planting the new garden. And I hope you love that beautiful picture that I put on Facebook and in the email that kind of showed the fertility of possibility. And at the same time, you know, by the way, could you please put your things on mute for now? Thank you so much. Otherwise there'll be too much feedback. Thank you. So if we look at the news, you know, we can get discouraged and upset and concerned and all of that. And there's just an awful lot going on that could cause one to be upset and concerned. Nonetheless, when I sat down, as I do about an hour before the broadcast, and I asked Mother Mary for sort of the the caption for tonight, you know, like with all of this going on with, you know, Ukraine and Roe versus Wade and, you know, whatever else you want to point to. Mother Mary's energy is always so beautiful. I'm spending a little time talking first while we let people get on, and then I'll be bringing Mother Mary through directly. So this is still Samarah. But when I asked her, you know, so what's the caption for tonight? She said, the caption is, you're fueling the wrong fire. So I sat and I thought about that for a moment, and I realized that some of what we do as humans is we react to outrages that are happening. And so, you know, you take the war in Ukraine, and now all of a sudden, literally millions and billions of dollars are being spent for armament and drones and tanks and weapons and this and that to fend off Putin and what he's doing. And then there's the thing with the oil, and they're not going to do the oil. And then, you know, all of this money is pouring into the wrong, according to Mother Mary, the wrong fire. By the same token, we can't just abandon the people of Ukraine and say, oh, well, you know, it's not my life, too bad for you. So the question becomes, what do we as human beings do in a world that's a little squirrely? So like I said, the caption for tonight is, you're fueling the wrong fire. And so it looks like everybody who's going to be on tonight is on. So I just, from my heart, I just want to say, I love you. I thank you so much. You know, I've been on this road a long time, and people think, oh, well, you must just be so happy all the time. And mostly I am. But when I gather like this and I see you, it buoys my spirits in an incredible way. Because I don't know about all of you, but sometimes it can be a little lonely to feel connected spiritually and to have desires for a safe, sane, peaceful world. So I just want to thank you so much. It just means the world to me to have you come on and listen to Mother Mary's messages and share our prayers in our community, as we will in a little bit. So I'm going to just close my eyes for a second and bring in Mother Mary and ask her to let you know, what does this mean that we've been fueling the wrong fire? So take a breath, darlings, take a breath. I think what I want to explain to you in the way that I hopefully can is, imagine for just a moment that each of you has a little garden outside your house. Even if you don't, it's all right. And imagine that you go out there, and all of a sudden, all of the plants that you had waited for and wanted to see were somehow brown or covered with bugs, or, you know, in some way dying. Now, you could go back in your house and kick the dirt and say, ah, ah. Or you could sit for a while and say, what is wrong perhaps with the soil? What is perhaps missing from my garden? So that rather than being angry at the result, okay, rather than being angry at the result, at the consequences, what you see, you come back in and you reflect upon what is missing. What is missing? So that's an analogy. So let's come back to the garden in the world right now. And I want you to think about what is missing. What is missing? And I think that the simplest way to put it is the consciousness of kindness. So what is missing is the consciousness of kindness. And in its place is this sort of greedy, dominating, I want to have what you have, regardless of how much work you put into it. I want it, so I'm going to take it. Now, if I start to go into my garden and kick the dirt and kick the plants that are not growing the way that I want, it won't have the result that I'm hoping for. It'll just keep me in this angry, upset place of, you know, being angry at what I'm seeing, and it's not what I wanted, and you know, make it different. So the challenge is to come back into yourself and say, wait a minute, I'm part of the co-creation, not the whole, but I'm part of the co-creation. So what is it that's missing? Now, in your world right now, the thing, as I said, that is missing the most is this consciousness of kindness, and the consciousness that if I deprive others of their well-being, at some point they will rebel and come after what I've taken. And so we don't want to go all the way there. We don't want to go all the way into what we're seeing right now, not only in Ukraine, not only in Russia, but certainly, you know, in many, many places that have fallen off the news cycle, but are still going through their own difficulties. And so let's step back for a moment and think, so where is my consciousness of being a creator? And where is my consciousness in terms of how am I contributing to the soil and the nurturance of not only my garden, but the entire garden of the earth? Because no matter how much you want to fence off your little portion, you cannot fence off the air. You cannot fence off the water. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Ultimately, the air from anywhere is going to come to your place. Ultimately, the water from anywhere is going to make its way to you, of course, and vice versa. So you begin to think about, all right, how can I make my garden beautiful, benevolent, kind, nurturing, and blossoming? And what do I want to plant anyway? And so there's this understanding that you will reap what you sow. So what do you want to sow? And I think if you realize that the greediness and the domination that have been really part of civilization from the beginning, you know, you've had many ups and downs, but certainly there have been dominating leaders from the beginning. And there have been people that have suffered, you know, from the beginning. And so, Mother Mary, you know, it's 2000 and some years since you've been around, you know, is it really ever going to change? And the answer is yes, because you're going to change it by having the understanding that what you do in your garden, which of course is your heart, your mind, your body, your house or apartment, your garden outside of it, the people in your life, the community, etc. As you realize, I'm in charge of this part of the garden, knowing that I also want to interrelate with those who are also holding the same idea of having flourishing gardens of light throughout the world. So to come back to today's theme, which is you've been fueling the wrong fire. And I mean that as a society, you know, not just you individually. Now, how can we create, I'll just call it Mary's garden. You know, I can be a little selfish sometimes. So what is Mary's garden? For some years now, Richard and I and Samarah have been talking about something called Mary's Angels. And on the very day that it was brought to their attention, Richard, who's very computer guy, he reserved the website, marysangels.com, right? Yeah. And for, is it 20 years or 19 or something, somewhere in there, whatever, he very beautifully, religiously, no, that's not the right word, diligently, devotedly renewed that name, wondering what will happen, when will it happen, how will it happen? So today is the day we begin to inaugurate Mary's Angels. And what is it? Mary's Angels is a group, a membership throughout the universe of people who pledge to live a life of justice and kindness and bringing a consciousness of co-creative potential to the planet. And so all of you are invited to join. We don't yet have the official aspects of the membership, but the purpose in the beginning, and those of you that wish and have a feeling, I want to be involved, Samarah has already put in the chat box how you can send a little bit of, $5 or $10 or whatever to help launch the website. Because what it's going to be initially is basically a reminder of who you are and why you've come. And those of you that have read Samarah in my book, it's in those first few pages, and I'll refer to it in just a moment. So it is a beam of consciousness to which people have agreed. So it's not a religion, it's not you have to do 10 laps around the pool every day, it's not like that. But it is part of understanding that you all need each other to really shift the world. And so there's an old prophecy, for those of you that read your Bible, of 144,000 people being able to shift the world's consciousness. And I know right now there are more than 144,000 of you out there, but you don't know each other. You haven't found each other. You haven't felt each other in the way that it's so glorious that you get to do here and now today. And so in the beginning, in addition to the website, there will be Zoom meetings like this where people can just share their ideas of hope and creation and possibility. So it's sort of like seeds of grace, where you're all encouraging each other to build something beautiful in your heart and in your life, and to leave that legacy in whatever form, because it's not a particular form that we're asking of you. It is that consciousness that can shift things, because to keep burning fuel and fires and all of the armament that is being sent throughout the world. Just the other day on television, one of the big generals was asked, so how will this end? And he said, it won't. How could it, right? How could it? Because the whole design of it is destruction. So what we want is a design of co-creative construction. And again, you may not know, well, what will I do? So it's all right. But if you want to send, $5 or $10 or something toward this co-creation, it's really about saying, I want to be part of building the consciousness that can build the new gardens throughout the world. And so we're very excited. I bet Richard's a little excited too, that Mary's Angels is about to be birthed in the world. And over time, there will be, as far as we can see, opportunities to do things like, you might have a favorite park where you want to build a bench and you can have a little plaque that says in memory of someone or as a gift from Mary's angels. And so what we're doing, you have to understand, how does consciousness grow? You can't preach it. You can't stand on a soapbox and make your friends be conscious. That isn't how it works. But when you, in your heart, make a choice to do something that builds the beauty that you want to see and the nurturing that you want to feel, that lifts this very thick and seemingly impossible to penetrate cloud of fear and doubt and all of that. So this is the way to be, I guess I want to say, this is the way to be proactive, but not throw yourself into the battleground. So it's a renaissance of consciousness. And you really all are already Mary's angels. This is simply a way to give you a community to help you thrive, and where you can also offer some beneficial thoughts, feelings, ideas, etc., to the community itself. So we really wanted it to be launched roughly on Mother's Day. So I know we're a little ahead of that, which is on Sunday, but it's really understanding. I choose to be one of Mary's angels. I choose to build my garden of light and life wherever I am. And I also choose to be part of a community that shares that same value system, regardless of, you know, their political beliefs or their religious beliefs or their background or all of that. That's irrelevant. It's about the consciousness that all of you came really with this promise in your heart to create a change, a sea change. And some people write it as SEA, but I write it as sea change, a change in consciousness. And so this Renaissance is really an opportunity for you to realize I'm not alone, and I can practice whatever my belief system is. It's not about that. But I choose to co-create with other heart-centered people who want to see that the currency that can be valued in the future is the currency of kindness. It's the currency of conscious love. It's the currency of just those acts of kindness that are so appreciated in the world, that you begin to see everyone is part of the same family. And so we no longer want to segregate people into certain things and regulate them into certain ways. We want to, you know, it's like that wonderful movie, If You Build It, He Will Come. Well, he, she, they're already here. But what's not yet built is really the worldwide web of light consciousness. And as I said, there are many already working in various communities in this way. But we want to bring you all together, and we want you to just celebrate that there are many paths, but just one light. There are many, many ways to be a light in the world, but you have your own very particular and very unique offering to bring. And so that's what we want to be sure you're planting and then watering and then growing. The other thing that it's going to do, it's going to take your heart and attention away from suffering. And I want to talk about suffering for just a moment. There's a great deal of suffering in the world right now. And we don't want to stop anyone from contributing in whatever ways you feel guided. But it's a little like understanding that if someone is sinking in the quicksand and you jump in, you'll both drown. So it's finding the board you can lay out in whatever way that works for you, and be able to reach them safely and give them a hand, again, in whatever way is right for you. So this isn't about ignoring suffering or not acknowledging suffering, but it's understanding that the greatest leverage that you have is consciousness, and contributing that in a dynamic way. What does that mean? In a way of action. You know, our beautiful Mother Teresa said, prayer without action is no prayer at all. And so we want to combine the divine feminine, which is that prayer that all beings have food, that all beings have shelter and opportunity and all that. But the action with the strong, beautiful, divine masculine that says, well, here's what we need to do. And that's why Samarah and Richard have teamed up all these years, because he represents really one of the beautiful, beautiful men in our world who has that feminine heart, but in a masculine, let's get it done kind of way. So we're very excited to announce Mary's Angels, May 2022, a beautiful organization where the membership is probably, since we love 144,000, it's going to be very expensive. It's $12 a month. Because 12 times 12 is 144. So it's, and what will we do with that money, right? What we will begin to do is develop various broadcasts from me, but from other people that talk about who's doing what in the world that is powerful and amazing and precious. And so we'll be bringing them on to share a little bit about, you know, what they've been doing and what they're up to, and encouraging people to the extent that they want to get involved with what someone else has already begun. Because we don't all have to start new organizations. And ours is really bringing people and groups together. So I'm very excited about that. And I just want to turn it over to Richard for just a moment to just, how's that feeling, my beautiful man?
It fills my heart with joy to hear the announcement and to know that we're ready to go ahead. As it happens, on May 1st, 4 days ago, on St. Germain's Ascension Day, I felt moved to get some software that's used to build membership sites. So, my dear Mary, I promise you, we will have marysangels.org up and running on Sunday coming, on Mother's Day. It will be there in a form or manner for you for Mother's Day.
See, now that's the divine masculine, right? So the heart comes in, the heart is full, and then let's do it, and it's done. So there we are, Mary's Angels, Mary's Angels. And over time, we want to have like a little pin you can wear, and you know, all of that will happen over time. But in the meantime, the idea is to realize we don't want you to feel alone. And we also don't want you to feel that there's something specific, you know, that you have to do each week or each month or whatever. It's not that. It's the consciousness with understanding that if you see someone suffering, you can help them by sending them light and love and Reiki or whatever. You can help them by writing a check sometimes, or offering them a blanket or a cup of water or whatever it is. But to change the world, the sea change that we want to see, requires a change in consciousness. To realize that whatever is out there, you have had a part in creating. And so if you want to see something different out there, again, don't go out in the garden and kick the weeds. Say, okay, let's come back inside. Come back inside, and let's connect with our guidance in whatever way that works for you. And ask that your consciousness be joined with the greatest good for all, the highest good for all. And then simply feel in yourself, what would love do here? And then do it. So you can always wish someone well. You can always bring a little more beauty into someone's day. You can always do that. But what we want for you now is to have a group of delicious friends who celebrate being one of Mary's angels, being someone who walks in this world, sharing the gift that you came to give. So we're very, very, very happy and excited. And thank you, Richard, for getting it done on Mother's Day. That's going to be just so awesome. The last thing that I want to say is sometimes people have a feeling that I hope is not true for any of you. Well, I don't deserve yet to be called Mary's angel. I haven't, I cursed the other day when someone cut me off and I forgot to recycle my pop cans, and please don't do that. Please don't do that. Being one of Mary's angels is a decision that you will do your best. That's all. Just do your best. And there are days when you get angry, and there are days when maybe you do kick the weeds outside, But that's all part of the fact that as humanity, you have not yet been given the resources and the community that can help you succeed. I want you to understand that. The resources and the community that can help you succeed. Because part of Mary's angels is, we have no agenda for you other than your highest good. Because what that means is the gift you came to give will be offered and accepted and celebrated. So we hope to see all of you as Mary's angels, and to realize that together, I don't know, let's speculate, Richard, how long will it take to have 144,000 members? 1 year? Hard to say. Hard to say. But it'll take whatever it takes. But as you all have shared tonight, and as in a moment when we end the recording, I always like to answer questions for those who have come. Just imagine that every month you and others will hear not only from me, but also from some of the other of Mary's angels who have done something lovely or wonderful, or have a question, or just want to share an idea that they have, so they can put that as part of our prayer for you to kind of get behind them and do that. So it's a place of encouragement that that I think you will really, really enjoy. And that's what we want for you, to have the resources and the encouragement to be you, to be you. And so before I come to answer questions for those who are here, I just want to invite anyone who's listening to the recording later to come into your heart and ask yourself, do I want the world to be a more beautiful garden? And do I have a part in that? And if the answer is yes, we hope you will come and be part of Mary's angels. So, all right. So now we're going to stop the recording.